Born on June 1st, 1937 in Memphis, Tennessee, Morganfreeman entered the world at a time when America was legally segregated and socially divided. His father, Morgan Porterfield Freeman Sr., was a barber. His mother, Mamie Edna, was a school teacher, disciplined, intelligent, and determined to keep her children steady in a world designed to destabilize them. He was the youngest of 5, which meant he learned early how to observe before speaking, how to listen before reacting. That quiet watchfulness would later become one of his greatest acting tools. His early life was anything but stable. Like so many black families navigating the economic chokehold of the Jim Crow South, his parents joined the Great Migration north to Chicago in search of opportunity. Work was scarce, money was tighter. Young Morgan was left behind in Charleston, Mississippi, in the care of his grandmother. Imagine that. A small boy absorbing absence before he could even name it. The kind of absence that shapes how you move through the world. When his grandmother died, 6-year-old Morgan moved north to reunite with his mother. But even that reunion did not bring permanence. His parents separated. His father struggled with alcoholism. The family shifted between Chicago, Tennessee, and Mississippi before settling in Greenwood. The instability forced him inward. He became observant, thoughtful, self-contained. And then there were the movies. In dark theaters, he watched giants like Gary Cooper, Spencer Tracy, and Sidney Poitier command the screen with quiet strength. Poitier in particular represented something radical, a black man portrayed with dignity and authority. For a young boy in Mississippi, that image mattered. But even then, Freeman didn't imagine himself becoming that figure. His dreams were louder, faster. He wanted altitude. The irony is almost cinematic. His acting career began as discipline for mischief. In junior high school, after pulling a chair out from under a girl he liked, he was ordered to participate in the school's drama competition as punishment. Instead of humiliation, he found ignition. He stepped on stage and discovered something electric. Control. The ability to hold attention. To command a room without raising his voice. He won top honors, shocking teachers who had not seen it coming. A star flickered into existence. But when graduation arrived in 1955, he made a decision that would puzzle anyone tracking his theatrical promise. He turned down a partial drama scholarship and enlisted in the United States Air Force. He didn't want applause. He wanted to be a fighter pilot. The romance of aviation was powerful in post-war America. Pilots were heroes. They embodied precision and power. Freeman trained diligently, but instead of flying, he was assigned as a mechanic and radar technician, grounded, watching others take off. The metaphor would only become clear years later. Somewhere between maintenance checks and long stretches of routine duty, clarity struck. He wasn't in love with combat. He wasn't even in love with aviation itself. He was in love with the fantasy, the idea, the image. That realization is brutal for a young man. It means starting over. In 1959, he left the Air Force and headed to Los Angeles with a fragile but persistent dream: acting. Hollywood did not welcome him with open arms. Roles for black actors were limited and often demeaning. He studied at the Pasadena Playhouse. He auditioned relentlessly. He struggled financially. Pride took hits. So he moved again, this time to New York City, where theater felt more alive, more possible. The grind was relentless. Day jobs, night auditions, rejection, small parts, repeat. In 1967, he finally caught a meaningful break in the all-black Broadway production of Hello, Dolly, starring Pearl Bailey. It was vibrant, culturally significant, and gave Freeman legitimacy on stage. Around the same time, he performed in the bold off-Broadway production The Nigger Lovers, a title that alone signaled confrontation and artistic risk. Freeman wasn't chasing safety, he was building craft. National exposure came in 1971 when he joined the cast of The Electric Company. Children across America knew him as Easy Reader. The show featured future legends like Rita Moreno, Joan Rivers, and Gene Wilder. It was steady work, respectable. But children's television doesn't automatically translate to Hollywood power. When The Electric Company ended in 1976, the safety net disappeared. His marriage to Jeanette Adair Bradshaw unraveled under the strain of uncertainty and alcohol. They divorced in 1979. Freeman later admitted he had begun drinking too heavily during this period, a coping mechanism for stalled ambition and private disappointment. A small but intense role in Brubaker alongside Robert Redford suggested a turning point. It wasn't. The phone didn't suddenly ring with leading man offers. Instead, he accepted a role on the soap opera Another World. For 2 years, he worked steadily but without prestige. Imagine being in your 40s, immensely talented, and still waiting for the industry to catch up. Then came 1987. In Street Smart, Freeman portrayed Fast Black, a volatile, manipulative pimp whose menace simmered just beneath the surface. The performance was explosive, not loud for the sake of noise, but controlled, unpredictable, dangerous. Critics were stunned. He earned his first Academy Award nomination. After decades of slow burn, the industry could no longer ignore him. Momentum followed. In Driving Miss Daisy, he played Hoke Colburn, a chauffeur navigating decades of racial tension with patience and quiet dignity. The role earned him a Golden Globe and another Oscar nomination. That same year, in Glory, he helped tell the story of the 54th Massachusetts Infantry Regiment, one of the first recognized Black Civil War units. By now, Freeman wasn't just acting, he was embodying history. The 1990s elevated him into cinematic permanence. The Shawshank Redemption became a cultural phenomenon, even if its box office didn't initially predict that fate. As read, Freeman delivered narration that felt less like voiceover and more like scripture. His cadence became iconic. The film's reputation grew year after year, cementing his legacy. He followed with C7, a grim procedural that contrasted sharply with Shawshank's warmth. Then Deep Impact, where he played the President of the United States, dignified, steady, reassuring in the face of apocalypse. Audiences believed him instantly. That trust would define his career. By the time he appeared as God in Bruce Almighty, it felt inevitable. Hollywood had found its voice of authority. In 2005, he finally won an Academy Award for Million Dollar Baby, directed by Clint Eastwood. The win felt less like a victory lap and more like overdue recognition. He stepped fully into blockbuster territory as Lucius Fox in Batman Begins, and continued through The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises, bridging prestige and pop culture seamlessly. In 2009, he portrayed Nelson Mandela in Invictus, earning another Oscar nomination. The performance felt almost spiritual, two dignified elders mirroring each other's calm resolve. Years later, Barack Obama awarded him the National Medal of Arts, praising his unmatched ability to humanize history. Off-screen, Freeman invested in longevity. He co-founded Revelations Entertainment. He launched charitable initiatives through the Rock River Foundation. After Hurricane Katrina devastated the Gulf Coast, he helped raise funds for recovery. In 2014, alarmed by declining honeybee populations, he converted his Mississippi ranch into a sanctuary for bees. A surprisingly tender mission for a man known for playing gods and generals. He even returned to the sky, earning his pilot's license later in life. The boy who once chased fighter jets finally found his way back to flight, on his own terms. But his personal life carried turbulence. A near-fatal car accident in 2008 left him with nerve damage in his hand. In 2015, tragedy struck when his step-granddaughter, Edina Hines, was murdered in New York City. The grief was immense. The man who narrated Hope now faced unspeakable loss. Then, in 2018, allegations of sexual harassment surfaced in a CNN investigation. Multiple women accused him of inappropriate comments and behavior. Freeman denied intentional wrongdoing and issued an apology to anyone made uncomfortable. His legal team challenged the reporting. CNN defended its story. The image of calm authority grew complicated. And yet, he continued working, continued narrating, continued appearing. Longevity became his quiet rebellion. Perhaps what defines Morganfreeman most is not the roles, the awards, or even the voice. It is endurance. He did not peak early and vanish. He built slowly, fell, rebuilt, endured scandal, endured grief, endured time. In an industry obsessed with youth and speed, he proved something radical, that greatness can arrive late and last. There are few voices on earth that can quiet a room in seconds. Few faces that can step onto a screen and instantly command trust. For decades, when audiences needed wisdom, dignity, or even God himself, Hollywood reached for one man. But long before he became the moral compass of American cinema, before the Oscars and presidential medals and billion-dollar franchises, Morganfreeman was just a restless boy in Mississippi who wanted one thing: to fly fighter jets and chase danger through open skies. And if fate hadn't intervened, if a school punishment hadn't changed his path, we might never have known his name.